Okay, I think I'm live. This is so weird. Okay, can anybody hear me? Is this all working? Please let me know. I don't know how to work any of this. I'm just going to let you guys come in for a moment. Let me see. I'm just going to secretly look how it looks on my end, on my phone. Oh, wow, I'm watching ads. Okay, so how is everybody? Oh, it's 5 people already. Hello. How's everybody doing on Saturday? What's everybody up to? Oh, I am live. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. We're all working. So today, literally, yes, Richard, the start of every Zoom call. I'm so sorry to be such like a stereotypical person doing a live stream right now, being like, can you hear me? Yeah. So today I kind of wanted to answer some questions and just go live. This is the first one that I've done. Can you tell? Because I literally don't know what I'm doing. And yeah, just talk to you all really, because I feel like in the videos that I normally make, like I'm making content with you and I can talk to you in the comments, but I just kind of wanted to sit and chat to you a bit more informally and just see how everybody's doing. Like today I've just been filming loads of stuff for YouTube because the master's course is kind of like ramping up so bad now. So I'm having to like pencil out days to just film everything on one day and then edit as I go rather than just filming throughout, because otherwise I wouldn't get it done. But yeah, it's kind of like rainy here in London. Lockdown's really weird as well. Is everybody else finding that who's in the UK? Like lockdown here does not feel like lockdown, other than the fact that a few shops are shut and the pubs are shut. Everything else is pretty much the same. It's so strange. I full on expected it. It's supposed to be like those pictures that you saw, like what I saw online at the start of the first lockdown, when like the streets of London were completely dead. And I was thinking like, oh, think of all the YouTube stuff I could film and not be self-conscious in the streets and stuff like that. But no, it's literally like it is normally. Oh, hi. Hello to the people saying hi in the chat. As I said, I'm going to be doing a Q&A in this video. So morning, hello. We're doing a Q&A. I've already got questions from my Instagram and from the community page on my YouTube channel that you guys sent in. So I'll be answering those. If you want me to answer anything specific, then please feel free to put it in the live chat and I will be happy to answer it. Yeah, so I feel like, oh, okay, I meant questions already. Let me read these. Do you think, okay, I meant to be sending my, I'm a slow reader. This is what I'm like, I'm going to have to put my glasses on. This is what I normally edit out. Okay, guys. I'm meant to be sending my UCAS application off university within the next week or so. I put law with criminology for my choice, just to make sure I won't regret it. Do you think I will? Honestly, it depends on whether you think it will. It's such a personal decision, you know, applying to university. And I constantly, when I was applying to law the first time, thought, oh, will I regret this? I mean, I didn't ended up regretting it, but I didn't end up doing it. So it's up to you, you know, whether you think that that's the course for you, whether you feel like you've done enough research to know that that's what you want to do. At the end of the day, doing a course like that, you don't have to go and do it after university. Like I'm not doing it after university. It's just a case of, do you think you're going to enjoy that for 3 years or however long the course is? Okay, so yeah, feel free, anybody, to put questions into the live chat. I'm just going to go through now and answer some questions that you guys asked me on the community page. Okay, let me find them. So I'm just going to skim them. Okay, going off that topic, here's quite a relatable one. Which universities have you applied to throughout your education? So for undergrad, I applied to obviously 5 through UCAS. Oh, I'm going to stretch my memory now, see if I can remember them. I applied to definitely SOAS, Manchester, Bristol, Surrey, and York. And I really wanted to go to Bristol. And then it was kind of a weird one, actually. I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I have. That the day I got my Bristol rejection was the day I had my York interview. And I remember I was walking to the train station and I had like coffee and I was going home after my interview at York. And I looked down and I got the email saying like, you've been rejected from Bristol. And up until the day I went to York, I was so set on Bristol, nothing would have changed my mind. And then me just walking around York that day, I just really fell in love with the city. And I remember thinking to myself, walking around that city, like, could you spend 3 years here? And I was like, yes, like overwhelmingly yes. So when I got that rejection, I was like, But that's pretty much the ones I applied to for undergrad. I remember I didn't really get many offers. I'm trying to think where I got offers. I think it was Surrey and York, because all the rest were like either LNAT or GCSEs and stuff, like you guys know, I put that video out about the GCSEs. Like some universities are so picky about that, or the BTEC stuff. Like they said that they like accepted BTECs and then they rejected them because they favoured A levels. That's a whole other video, okay? And then obviously for masters, I just applied to King's College London here, which I feel like was a bold move. I still feel like it's a bold move. Like imagine if I didn't get in, I've done a gap year. So that's what I'd be doing. Not doing much travel, but doing a gap year all the same. Okay, can you talk about how you felt studying law and how to tell if it's right or not? Yeah, that's a weird one. Like, it's a weird one. I feel like my concept, like my perception, sorry, of law changed throughout the time that I studied it. So when I first started studying law, I was like mini Harvey Specter, like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be studying this. And I'm going to be the best corporate lawyer or barrister. That's what I wanted to be at the time. And I was super like into it and committed. And I would basically happily stay up till 3 a.m. every single day. Like if you guys followed my early vlogs, when I was in first year, especially towards the end of first year, I was like, yeah. And then even the times when I was like, oh, I don't know, I was still kind of like, yeah, but you've committed, like you've got 2 years left. Ooh. And I think in second year, I really, really tried to convince myself that I loved law because I knew that I'd committed to it and it just would be so much easier if I really liked law, I found a job that I really liked. And then that just didn't happen, even though I am on a master's now doing law, but whatever. I feel like now, how I feel studying law, like, I knew it was right because I knew that all the qualities that I had, like, and things that I liked, like studying on my own and sort of like working within groups at the same time, but researching and reading and having a heavy workload and being super busy, they're things that I really enjoyed, and they kind of translated directly to law. So I kind of just looked at all the careers available and I was like, this is the only one that jumps out. But I did remember having a little wobbly before I sent my UCAS application. Before I sent my UCAS application myself, I think it was like the August of that year, and I was like, maybe I'm just going to do philosophy. And I remember talking to my parents about it, and they were like, yeah, but what can you do with philosophy? And I was like, valid point. So I ended up doing law, but at the same time, I feel like within my law degree, and especially now doing an ethics master's, I've found my way back to philosophy. So there are always things that I liked outside of law, and I've kind of incorporated them with law. And yes, that's kind of how I knew that it was right. But I'd say if you don't know whether it's right, just like read as much law things as possible and ask yourself whether you can see yourself doing it for 3 years. I always feel like there's like this big pressure when you're choosing a degree to be like, this is the career for the rest of my life. And that's not necessarily the case. Like, just do a degree that you enjoy for 3 years and figure it out afterwards. That's my advice from now on in, because I chose a degree thinking this is my career, and then it all went Pete Tong. So I would say just do something that you enjoy. Okay, more law questions. I know I feel like my channel, especially in the beginning, was so law based. So I feel like I shouldn't be surprised that there are loads of law questions. Question here: why don't you want to be a solicitor? What will you do when you get a job? Good question. So I don't want to be a solicitor or a barrister purely because I did loads of work experience in that area and I just didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't for me. There are elements of the job that I thought maybe I could see myself doing, but fundamentally, day in, day out, it wasn't something that I would like jump out of bed for. It just wasn't something that I'd be like, yeah, this is my life. I feel like I would get to 30 or 40 and be like, oh, there's more things that I want to be doing. That's why I don't want to be a solicitor. What will you do when you get a job? I feel like, right, the dream goal is I really would want to be a doctor. Emergency medicine is something that I'm looking into at the moment. I need way more experience to know specifically. But obviously, like, I get a bit freaked out at the thought of med school because it's really hard to get in. And I feel like that thought is like, it's getting more and more like louder in my mind at the thought that it's going to be hard. But yeah, like next year, I'm planning to have a year off, I think, because I'm so burnt out. As you guys have seen probably from my update video of midterm, that was like 5 weeks in, and I was already like, God, I'm done. So I feel like after this year, I'm going to be like drained. So I'm going to have a year out. Still going to study. I want to write a book. I'm going to travel and basically focus on YouTube more, and obviously still make study content and law content and things like that. And then I'm going to apply to med school and stuff after that. Yeah. So the long answer to your short question was hopefully a doctor, but you know, we shall see. Okay, so one's about lockdown. So how are you finding lockdown? Well, there's a few on my Instagram as well that have just come through. Oh, they're also about lockdown. Oh, everybody wants to know how I'm coping with the lockdown. To be honest, and I don't know if this makes me sad or it's just my personality type. I love lockdown. I think it's marvelous. Like, it's exactly the same as I normally live my life, which is probably a bit sad. I enjoy quite like this being in my room on my own working, and like obviously I have housemates this time around, whereas in New York I didn't. So it was a bit more lonely, but at the same time, I enjoyed having that time to myself. And here, obviously, I've got two housemates that I got on with really well. So I feel like if I were to get a bit lonely, I'll just go and bother them. But I feel like it hasn't come to that yet. And obviously, like, we're still allowed to go out once a day here in England. So, you know, I feel like without that, it would have been super tough. But because we're allowed to go out for one bit of exercise, like, I'd only probably leave the house once a day anyway, so it makes no difference to me. Basically, I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm trying to basically see the positives in lockdown. I know it's super tough for a lot of people right now, and it is like a really unfortunate time. You know, there's a lot of people that I know, and even my lecturers, that are really struggling with COVID, even, you know, more so now than the first time around, or have family members that are being impacted by it. So I definitely do feel for a lot of people, but yeah, I'm trying to see the positives in it and basically set myself targets. And, you know, the first time around, I wanted to finish my degree and learn Spanish and, you know, get fitter, and they're things that I achieved. So this time around, I'm trying to learn to cook. It's not going very well. There'll be a video about that soon. And yeah, and I'm just trying to like get through my course and just be a bit happier, and like basically take time for me a bit more, and use this time that we've been given, because that's so like rare to just have time off and not have to be places and be expected to be places. So I'm just trying to like try and enjoy life. So how are you guys all finding the lockdown? Oh, there's some messages in the chat that have come through. I'm just skimming them now. They're still going to med school? Yes, still planning to go to med school. It's someone will let me and I will go. That's pretty much the consensus on that. Oh, someone wanting to go into philosophy, maybe. I would recommend. I love philosophy. I think it's such an interesting field to go into. It completely changes your perspective on a lot of topics that you might not necessarily have thought about. Any tips for the SDIP interview? Do you know, I had a question on my Instagram as well about EDIP and SDIP. Obviously, I know I've made quite a few videos about the civil service, so to address those, I mean, I do actually have a video. I don't know when your interviews are, but I do have a video coming out soon about interviews generally, how to ace them, kind of that thing. Sorry, there are things in the chat and I'm getting distracted. Basically, yeah, that video will help you in terms of actual, in like how to ace interviews, but specifically for those interviews, I think they're on the phone. That's how they work for me. And obviously with COVID, I imagine they'll be on the phone now. Use star+L, be confident, know your application. I'm sure you will do great. Just have confidence in yourself. That's a thing that I didn't have, I think, when I did mine, especially being in first and second year. And I was like really nervous all the time in them. And I remember just overthinking a lot in the interview. Whereas if you go in strong, confident, able, you will excel. So good luck for your interviews. I'm just skimming these questions. Has starting a YouTube channel impacted your life in any ways? From the chat. Yeah, I would definitely say it has. I'm just trying to think in what ways. Like, that's an interesting one, because I feel like it's twofold. So I started my YouTube channel originally in 2013. I also realized this is like probably a bad angle. I started my YouTube channel originally in 2013, and at that time I left school early. I was like basically a bit depressed about life and wasn't feeling it, and hated school, didn't know what I wanted to do. And YouTube for me was such a big comfort. Like, I absolutely loved it. And this whole just concept of being able to put out a video, especially back in 2013, YouTube was a little bit different then. It was a bit more of a new thing. And I feel like everybody was kind of joining YouTube back then, but not many people stick at it. So you stuck at it, it was kind of like you grew a nice little community, and that's kind of what this has evolved from. But anyway, when I posted videos, I really liked that I could just post a video of me talking about whatever, and there'll be comments from people all around the world who don't know me, and they'd be so supportive and nice, and I think that's what I really needed at the time. So it changed my life a lot in the beginning, in the fact that it was just a nice welcome hug, and it was just nice to be around a good environment. And I think as I progressed with it, and then I went and studied film, and I got more seriously into making vlogs and less about sort of beauty lifestyle stuff and more about vlogs and me and the content that I make now, and try and be a little bit more artsy. I think I was a bit more artsy back in the day than I am now, just because I don't have the time to be like doing nice cinematic shots and things like that. But I would love to get back to that next year when we gap year. I'll try and get back to Casey Neistat vibes on the vlogs. But I think when I got more into that, it taught me to treat this more as like a job in a way, and be more committed and dedicated with it, and take things a bit more seriously and plan and be organized. And their skills are then transferred to our other areas of my life. And also just having this full community, as I said, and how that was so brilliant in the beginning is grown so much now. I think it's mad to think that I think it took me a year or so just to get 1,000 subscribers, and now I'm gaining like 5,000 a year. It's mental. I find it so crazy. Like literally just in the last 2 years, we've gained like 8,000 people. Like that's like, it's mental. Like, and yeah, and just having all you guys here, even being able to do this live stream, seeing how many people are watching, seeing your type, and it's just nice. And I'm looking forward to basically just doing this in the future. Do you watch Fun for Louise? No, I do not. But do you see yourself becoming a travel vlogger anytime? I wouldn't necessarily be a travel vlogger, but I definitely think when I go traveling, I would like to vlog it. If you guys would want that, you'll have to let me know on Instagram or here on the live chat or just in future videos. Like I have vlogged some of my trips before, like when I went to Rome, Ireland, Paris, Barbados over the last like couple of years. I have vlogged those trips and I enjoy doing it. So I definitely love to do that, especially if I go on more of like serious travel. Definitely serious travels. I mean like proper travels, not just like an odd holiday. You know what I mean? Like gap year travels. When I do that, then yeah, definitely love to make that content for you guys. Okay, any other questions in the chat? Do you know which type of medicine you like to specialize in? Yeah, I think emergency medicine, but it's only because I think that the qualities involved in that job match my personality type. But I think that I kind of need to like know my working style a bit more and know what other areas involve and things like that before I could know for sure. Like all I've really worked in is acute medicine, which is similar to A&E, and I loved that. I loved like the fast turnover and the different cases and things like that people have. So that's something that I'm looking forward to kind of getting into. Do you have any tips for research or dissertation topics that doesn't have a lot of information online? I'm doing mediation. I thought I said meditation then, and I was like, I'm sure there'd be quite a lot on meditation. What am I saying? Sorry, I'm getting distracted by people's comments. Okay, so dissertation topics, tips for research. Honestly, it depends. Like, I'm guessing this is for law. Obviously, the main places like Google Scholar, look at Law Trove, look at Westlaw, LexisNexis, anything you've got access to, your university library, college library, whatever you have, and hope for the best. That's pretty much the sites that I use. And if you are super struggling, then go to your dissertation supervisor and ask them if they have any places to look. There might be articles and stuff in other fields that link to the theories that you want to talk about within mediation or whatever it may be. So just kind of broaden the search outside of the discipline. And equally, if you go interdisciplinary, then normally it can get you a higher grade. Dissertations are a hard one, man. Like, I planned it so far in advance because I had help from one of my lecturers, and they were like, oh, you should do this if you want to do medicine. And I was like, what is this? Was it gene editing? Huh? Never literally had given it a moment's thought prior to that. And then I looked into it and was like, I'm doing this, guys. And it was kind of quite easy from then on because there's a lot of information on that topic, especially ethically. There's literally not much in the law, but then the law, at least you have the statute. So I do feel for you because it's difficult to do dissertations generally, and finding the information is honestly 90% of the battle. But hopefully, basically just speak to anybody in that field and broaden your search. Keep going out until you find stuff, and hopefully that should help. Oh, hug from Brazil. Oh my God, Brazil. Hello, people watching Brazil. I was going to say hola, but then I was like, you speak Portuguese, don't you? So that's my lack of cultural knowledge. Hi, Chelsea. Do you plan on doing an in-depth tutorial on how to prepare case notes? Something like Eve Cornwall has done. I don't know the video Eve Cornwall has done, but I can definitely make a video on how to prepare case notes. I do them very similar to how I write my notes about cases in classes. I made a video, it's called How I Take Notes for University. I think I did that last week maybe, and the bit on cases in that, that's how I set them out basically. I do it in a table, but I can definitely make a more in-depth video if people want that. Do you think the solicitor apprenticeship is a good route? I think it honestly depends, because I've heard mixed reviews about it. I think if you definitely want to be a solicitor and you don't think that formal education in terms of university and things isn't for you, I am right in thinking, I hope I'm right in thinking, that it's like 4 or 5 years or something. Can you go in after A levels and do it? So you can have that benefit of getting tangible work experience right there and then, and going and getting stuck in. But the only bad thing I've heard about that is that there is a risk at the end of doing the apprenticeship that you won't necessarily have a job, and then you've basically got no formal qualifications to get a job, and that might be less favoured than doing the degree. But obviously now with the new I think the SQE, that's all changing to not need a formal law degree and stuff. I think it might, it's 6 years. I think it might be like a better route, but it's up to you whether you like university or you want to start working and earning money. Honestly, it's something that I don't really know that much about, but that's all I've heard about it, really. I'm not sure I want to go into commercial law, and it seems other areas aren't talked about as much. You're not wrong there. Honestly, I feel like law schools have got like commission about how much they talk about commercial law. Any resources you came across at law school? Yes, I think the best places are, I think it's called Chamber Student and All About Law. I think they're the best 2 ones. Basically, they list all the different practice areas and then what either chambers or what solicitors firms work within those, and then from then it gives you like articles that you can look at, and you can just kind of see basically what they're doing within each field and whether it applies to you. And they do like, I can't remember the website, but I think it is All About Law, where they basically list like what a typical day is like, and also Legal Cheat do that as well. They do like typical day, salary, all of that for different areas of law and different law firms. So they're good places to start. I'm losing the comments. I'm scrolling up, sorry. But yeah, you are definitely right in that law schools plug commercial law so much. I think it's just because a lot of law schools, especially mine, was sponsored by commercial law firms, that they plug it all the time, and most people end up going into those fields. So I'm trying to grab my coffee because I'm like, it's gonna go cold otherwise. Yeah, most people go into those fields, and I think just because they probably get pushed into those fields, but because most people go in those fields, they just find that's the one to talk about most. I want to study law at university, but I'm scared I won't succeed at it or I won't end up doing well. Do you have any advice? Honestly, best way I can say it is back yourself. I know that you can do it. Look at me, okay? I went from having minimal GCSEs to going to 2 Russell Group universities. It's like, you can do it. It's just whether you want to put in the work. It might take you a little bit longer than other people who have different experiences, opportunities, or might be a bit more privileged. But at the end of the day, you can do anything that you want to do. Fundamentally, that is that. It's just whether you want to put in the work and whether you want to take the time to do it. I understand that it's so scary doing law, because I remember thinking that everybody there would be like these Harvard types, everybody's wanting to study loads and they'll be really smart, and I would feel super inadequate. And that's something that I struggled with for the first 2 years of my university sort of journey. And then it kind of gets to the point where the more that I spoke to people on the course and saw what grades they were getting and things like that, I was like, actually, yeah, I'm doing fine. Like, this is my journey. I'm not going to compare myself to anybody else. And once I started thinking like that, you'll be fine. So go for it. I believe in you. You can do it. Good luck. Do you find it hard managing YouTube and the masters? Yes, a little bit. Especially because I'm doing 3 times a week now. I'm trying to do 3 times a week. I think as long as I'm organised, it's fine. And especially the last few weeks, I've had a few classes cancelled. So it's made life so much easier. Thank you, Jonathan, my lecturer, big up for cancelling your class. But basically, yeah, when it's all in full swing and they're giving us 100 pages and podcasts and read these cases and all of this per class, I do 5, 6 classes. Like, it's a lot. And YouTube then has to just be stuff like that I film in one big bulk, and then I edit in one big bulk, and then schedule it for like a week in advance. That's kind of how I'm trying to do it. But term ends, I think, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, I don't know, ends in a few weeks. So next term I'm taking 2 classes. So I'm like, I can't wait. You have no idea. I could not wait. And YouTube would be so much easier then. So I'm planning, if you guys want me to, keep up the 3 uploads a week, because I'm enjoying doing 3. It's funny because when I first started my channel, I was struggling to do 1 upload a week, because I was like, oh, like I've got stuff to do. Especially that was first and second year law, like when it was most intense. but yeah, now I feel like I'm into the swing of it. I've got my ways of like being organized, and I'm loving doing 3 times a week. Well, your videos have helped me a lot, especially with acquiring vac schemes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. Good luck with the vac schemes and getting training contracts. I'm glad they've helped. So I always love reading messages like that, because I feel like I know that I get a lot of comments being like, oh, it's helped me, or thanks for the video, or thumbs up and the views and stuff. But like when I actually get you guys commenting and saying, no, it's really helped me do X, Y, Z, I'm like, it makes me really proud and happy. So thank you. Hello from Italy. Hi. I don't know any Italian. I always feel like whenever someone says something from that country, I want to be like, I want to know a bit of that language to be like, oh, hi, like, but I don't know many languages. Bonjour, no, but it's not morning, so I'm sorry. What do you like about KCL and what don't you like? Do you enjoy studying that? Good question. I love it, but I also hate it in terms of workload. Like, I love the university. The lecturers are like super disorganized, but I think that's just lecturers everywhere. And I know that everybody on my course has basically been moaning about that in the group chats. But other than that, the lecturers here are better than York. No shade, but it's true. They are just better in their field, and I feel like I connect with them better than I did previously with other lecturers. So I'm definitely loving it here, and I'm loving what I'm studying. Even the subjects that I find super boring, they're still interesting, if that makes sense, because I can see the value in what we're learning. Yeah, and the only other thing I guess I'm not enjoying is the fact that they're basically saying we're going to be online for, I think, the rest of the year, is in the academic year, so like next term, which I feel might be a bit premature, but at the same time, if it's people's safety, I completely understand it. And at the same time, I'm secretly loving online learning. Like, just doing stuff from my bedroom and not having to go and travel and get dressed and do hair and makeup, and sitting there in like my workout gear with like my hood on, like just off camera. I'm loving that. It's saving me so much time. But I would kind of like to meet my classmates at some point, because I've only met like 4 of them, and there's so many more that I just don't meet. But it's funny, you know, one of my lecturers actually, he does, I feel like I'm holding this, I'm not having any. Wait, one sec. One of my lecturers, he set up basically this like live stream, where there's some event basically where we can all sit around and talk to each other once a week. And yeah, it's really fun to basically talk to people, Skype them now, but we've only done 1 week of that, so hopefully as the weeks go on we'll get more pally and stuff, and yeah, then that'll basically fill the void of not speaking to anybody for my actual course. What I hear, doctors work crazy hours, money suffers from no work-life balance. What's your perspective on this issue? Do you consider this to choose medicine? Yeah, from what I hear also, it's awful. Obviously, probably most of the people on my course are doctors, and they're still working as a doctor whilst doing this course. I have no idea how they do it at all, honestly, especially in COVID. But yeah, I completely get that the work-life balance is atrocious for a lot of practice areas, and it's something that I've thought about, and equally the route that I want to go in. I mean, I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be super intense, but I don't mind doing loads of work, because you know what I'm like, guys. Think of all the work experience I've done and all that I do now. I don't mind doing lots of work if I love it. It's only when I'm just not enjoying it and I'm getting burnt out and things like that that I don't want the no work-life balance thing. So, you know, providing that I love the job and I picked a specialism that I'm enjoying, I feel like it's okay. It's a shame that it has to be that way and that everybody has to work that many hours, because there's just no funding and there's not enough staff and things like that. But, you know, hopefully in the future things will change. But it's just one of them things. I feel like a lot of the top sectors, or what's considered top sectors like law and medicine and things, they're all a bit like that. Everybody gets worked to the bone, but I think it is just a cultural thing. We kind of need to stop and be like, let's just work 40 hours, and if it can't be done, hire more people. But I don't think that will ever happen. Capitalism and all of that. Oh my god, Kenya, hello. Kenya's cool. I'm like, I feel like I really want to go back to Africa, because obviously I used to live in Africa for a couple of years, lived in Nigeria, and I loved it when I was there. It was amazing, especially the weather. Miss that every day. But it's one of them places that I feel like I just haven't had a chance to go back, and if I were to go back, I'd have no clue where to go, because I feel like Nigeria isn't somewhere I could probably go on holiday. But I'd love to go back to Africa. So when I see like Kenya, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Love to study for the LPC in the UK after a master's. What's the average salary of training lawyer in the Magic Circle firms? Average salary is basically 40,000 starting pay, and then after your training contract of 2 years, it goes up to 90 to 120, depending on whether you work for an American firm or not. Good money, in other words. you got any tips for someone struggling with college? Because I've always struggled with school. I love learning, but sometimes I feel dumb and behind in work. Honestly, this is me. This is me. I struggle quite a lot with it, and I used to a lot when I was younger, because I used to feel like if I didn't get something, that made me stupid, or that made me, everyone else must be getting it and I'm the only one that's not. That's not true. Sometimes, things are probably just not taught in the way that is connected to your learning style, or the fact that you just need to learn it another way, or you need to just spend a little bit more time on it. There'll always be things that you are better at than other people. You need to find your talent. Everybody has a talent. It's just finding it. So don't feel like that, basically, because I felt like that a lot. And I think we all have insecurities. It's like literally when I was doing my Spanish a few weeks ago, I felt like it was super difficult, and it literally gave me a breakdown. I was in the class like, if you ask me a question, even though I probably would know it if it was written down or something, but the pressure of the class just made me feel like I was so inadequate, and it made me feel like everybody else there was better. And I think that's something a lot of us struggle with, and it's so unnecessary, because I think as soon as I was like, do you know what, it, have a bit of confidence, should be fine. I love those classes now. They're the best part of my week. So don't feel like that. Trust me, it'll be fine. It'll all work itself out. And struggling in terms of just try and learn in your learning style, get as much help as you can, either from your fellow students or from lecturers or teachers, and ask your friends and stuff, and ask your parents if you can, and basically just put in as much work as it takes to get the grades that you need, and good luck. How did you go about choosing a dissertation topic? I've touched on this briefly, but my lecturer Peter, who was basically like one of the few lecturers at York that I just vibed with, he was like, I want to say like a dad figure to me. That's a bit strong. I just really liked him and his ethos. Basically, I asked him. I wanted to do a dissertation originally on intellectual property, which was his area, and I wanted to do something about, like, how on YouTube you get music that you use. You can't monetize a video if you use basically other people's music, and I wanted to look at ways in which that's basically crippling creative freedom, and IP laws are like too strict. That's what I wanted to do originally, and he was like, no, basically you won't be able to like show that, and it's not enough law, and it's too like rah, and he was like, it's too hard, do something else. And I was like, well, I want to do medicine, something medically related, but I have no idea. This is at the point when I just decided that, do you know what, I think I'm going to do medicine because I can do medicine with my grade set, but I had no idea, not the foggiest about what it entailed. So I asked him, and his wife's a doctor, so, and he did a science degree and a PhD, and then switched to the law PhD. He's one of them, right? Like doctor type guy. So he gave me a few topics and gave me some book recommendations to basically set me on the right path. And then I shaped my question, and he helped me with it, and that's how I chose my topic. I also have a whole series, a playlist on my YouTube channel here. It's entitled like my dissertation diaries, and that captures the whole process of how I did it start to finish. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you if you're writing a dissertation topic or curious. Do you have any tips for international students? Should we write about why we want to study law in the UK, for example? Always from the same person from Sweden. Oh, Sweden. Wow, this channel really gets everywhere. I find that amazing. That's so cool. Love your videos have helped me so much more. You can imagine. I'm like, don't. I feel like I'm a bit of a wet wipe. I might cry if like loads of you send comments and like that. So please. Lucy, I was watching a video earlier on Facebook. You know those videos where like basically people from the army and stuff, they come home and then they get greeted. That makes me cry within like 10 seconds. So anyway, back to your question. I would definitely say if you're an international student and wanting to study here, and basically law schools will be thinking, but why the UK? Like, you could go anywhere. What is it about the UK that's particular? Because I know that some, places, if it's like, I'm obviously from Sweden, but I know that some countries like Hong Kong and stuff have similar law systems to here, so that's kind of an obvious reason. But if it's completely different, if you're in Sweden, I don't know what the law system's like in Sweden, but basically say what it is about the UK that makes you want to study here, and basically what you think you're going to get out of the experience, and good luck. That's such a cool, I always think that's a cool thing when people study abroad. Like, I would have loved to study abroad, but when I was doing my undergrad, we could go to Hong Kong or Singapore, and I just remember thinking like, don't want to have a year out, because we couldn't integrate it. If I could integrate it and I could spend my like final year somewhere, oh god, that'd have been amazing. But because we had to take an extra year out to go somewhere, I was like, I don't know if I vibed it. If it was like Canada or something, I would have loved it. But that's a funny thing as well. the people who went to Hong Kong because of the political situation there ended up, I think, going to Canada. And I was like, oh, how jammy. That would have been amazing. You sign up for Hong Kong, be there for a couple of months, and end up going to Canada for the rest of the year. I think that's marvellous. But no, I was meant to go to India as well. So I'm reading the comments. I was meant to go to India this September just gone for 3 weeks, and it was paid for by the uni. I'm so gutted. I would have loved that trip. And India's literally so high up on my bucket list. I really want to go, but I feel like I can't go. I feel like maybe it's just me just being scared of countries that like I don't know anything about it. So I want to be like prepared to go, and I don't feel like I am if I went on my own. I don't feel like it's this other place I could just go backpacking on my own. I need to go as like an arranged trip. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's not the case by India. Maybe that's just my conception about places that aren't Europe, because I feel like I get a bit scared when I travel on my own, being a single female. What was I saying? Yeah, so that was going to be my chance to study abroad and stuff, but that didn't happen because of Corona. And here at King's, I really don't think I'm going to be able to get an opportunity to go abroad because of Corona. But yeah, gap year next year, and hopefully I'll be able to do something abroad. You know what I'd really love to do as well? Because I want to be learning Spanish, and I want to get to a point of fluency. Not necessarily like, I don't know, like C grade fluency, but basically like work proficiency would be amazing, because I'm at level 2 at the moment, and there's like 6 levels. I would love to go to Spain, like Madrid or something, and do one of their like Spanish intensive courses. I'd love to do that. I think I'm going to do that next year. I imagine I'd love to do that. I might do that next year. Have you got any tips to stop procrastinating? Yes, to stop procrastinating. I know that sounds like trite advice, but like, you know, you need to be disciplined, and basically it's good to be motivated, but discipline is there when the motivation fails. So you need to kind of know why you're studying, and that will enable you to want to study. And if you want to study, you won't want to procrastinate. And it's simple as that. Like most of the time when I'm procrastinating, especially recently when The Crown came out, I was like, ethics reading or The Crown. The Crown, amazing series. If anybody's seen the 4th season, great. Diana. Whew. Anyway, yeah, like the reason I wanted to watch The Crown more than the ethics reading is because I don't really want to do the ethics reading. But then when you really think about it and say like, okay, I need to do this reading even though I'm not interested in it because it's for the course that I really want to get, and you think about the bigger picture and why you're doing what you're doing, then you basically have more motivation to do it. And if you don't have motivation, then you just got to be disciplined and crack on with it. Good evening, Pakistan. Oh, Pakistan, amazing. Good evening. Thank you. I feel like my eyes are going. Like I don't have that bad eyesight. Okay. Someone asked me as well. That reminds me. Someone asked me in one of these questions. They were like, "How bad is your eyesight?" Because I feel like I go on about it a lot. It's just my eyesight's not that bad. I think it's like a 1 and maybe a 0.75 or something. They're not that bad. It's just that in the half light, can't see. Especially now, like reading all these comments, they're like going quick. I can't see. Okay. In the 3rd year of law, struggling to figure out what I'm going to do after it. I don't want to do a commercial law because I don't enjoy the job. How do I figure out what to do? Should I consider a gap year? Oh my God, hello, you're me. Like, this is me. Basically, it's a hard decision. I'm kind of there. Well, obviously not because I want to do medicine now, but like I can relate to you. I've only recently really been in that situation. And the best thing to do is not to rush about getting a job. Like, I had that immense pressure on me from everybody else around me saying like, you need to get a job, you're finishing. All my friends were going to get corporate jobs, and I felt like that was the thing that I had to do. And now I'm in sort of a situation where I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm 21. Like, I'm 21, okay? I can take a year out and it's fine. Like, it doesn't mean anything in the scheme of things. If I'm 35, people aren't going to be like, oh, but you should be 34 right now, or but would you have a year out? Like, no one's going to care. So yeah, if you feel like you need to have a gap year to figure out what you want in life, and you want more time to know who you are and what you like and don't like in your working styles and things like that, go for it. I think if you can afford to have a gap year and you can do things in that gap year that are like planned, not just like sitting around basically watching these women for a year, then go for it. I would completely do it. Even if you're just working for a year and just getting used to being in a 9-to-5 environment and earning some money. Also, that's constructive. I know Corona's basically killed all of our plans for the foreseeable future, but like definitely would consider a gap year. And how to figure out what you do. Generally, like I want to make a video on this as well, basically like how to find your dream job, because the way that I would do it, the condensed version is, the way that I would do it is think about who you are as a person. Think about your likes and your dislikes, what you enjoy and don't, whether you want to work inside, outside, kind of people you want to work with. Do you want to work night shifts, or do you want to work as and when throughout the day, self-employed or not? Think about all these things, and then think about all the job roles that are available out there. Go on sites like Prospects and see all of the things that you can basically do. Read them all. It is a long process, but it's your life at the end of the day. It's your career. It's worth putting work in for it. And basically just figure out which ones you think best suit you, do some work experience in them, and go from there. That's the best, my advice. That's kind of how I came to my conclusion. Will this Q&A be uploaded on YouTube? I would like to think this will go up after I've ended it, but I'm not technologically savvy enough to know if that's going to happen. I would like to think, so I'm going to say yes. How come you don't do a medicine bachelor's with the foundation year? I think it's because when I looked at all of the foundation years, all the ones that, because obviously I don't have science GCSEs, I don't have science A levels, I have very limited GCSEs at that. I literally have like 3.5. I say half because it's not a good grade. And obviously a BTEC and then a law degree, like nothing flows in the direction of medicine. So when I looked, I remember thinking you needed a certain number, and equally it's the funding, like to do a foundation year is extra money. And yeah, I think that a lot of the courses that did a foundation year, basically you needed to come from either a certain background or have certain grades, which I had neither. So, you know, that'd be why. Plus it'll take longer. And grad med 4 years. If I can ace that GAM cert, we're sailing. But that's a problem for down the road. Wow, I've been on for 40 minutes. I honestly thought I'd be on here for like 20, maybe half an hour max. But it looks like we're just going to do an hour. So I'm going to stay on till 4. So I still have those questions on Instagram and on the community page, and you guys keep popping questions in. So I'll stay on here till 4. So get your questions in now, basically, if you want to ask me anything. And I've really enjoyed this, chatting to you all. Okay, so do you have any questions for learning a new language? Yes, I do. I've learned it the hard way. Basically, the way that I first learned my language, Spanish, I went on Duolingo. I thought that was the only way to basically to learn it if you're not going to pay for lessons and stuff. I learned a lot of good vocab that way. And then I used an app called Tandem, which enables you to talk to people who speak your language and they want to learn your language. So it's like a quid pro quo thing, where you get basically you both learn with each other. Yeah, that helped me in the beginning so much with just like accent and learning vocab, but then it got to a point where I was like stagnating. So then I just started taking lessons, and the best tips I can have basically are, learn the vocab first, figure out what words you want to know. There's some really good like quality tips on how to learn languages on YouTube. Like I love all of like the polyglot videos and stuff like that. That's my like guilty pleasure that I watch. There's people who learn like 7 languages for fun. And yeah, once you've got to the point where you feel like you have a good level of vocab, probably like 500-600 words, which sounds like a lot, but when you learn how to kind of put those together, that's a hard bit, not the learning words. Then just learn how to conjugate verbs in different tenses, and then probably find someone to speak that language and practice with them. That's the best way I can do it. But it's a long process. Like I thought I'd be like fluent within 3 months, and it just did not happen. I feel like I've been on it now for, I first started Duolingo in August 2019 when I came back from Spain. I was like, hola, I'm gonna get so in Spanish, and I did it for like 3 weeks, and then it tailed off when I went into my final year, and then I picked it back up in lockdown. So really, I've only been doing it for a couple of months, but yeah, right, level 2 at the moment. Have you ever used sorry, I can't say Gusu? Is that how you pronounce that for language learning? No, I haven't. What is that app? Please let me know if it's cool. Okay, how do you budget your money in the age of coronavirus? I watched your money diaries when you were a student at York, loved it. Do you buy your toiletries at once, and what about food? Oh, actually an interesting question. That's something like, okay, I haven't probably talked about on this channel. I know budgeting is quite tough for Corona, exactly because there's no work. There's literally no work going. Normally I'd be a student ambassador, and with what open days, you know? So I do budget. I mean, I went into this master's basically knowing how much it will cost me for the full year if I weren't to earn any money. So I kind of prepared for that, and I wanted to go in the master's basically having the full lot saved, even though it's going to wipe out my full savings. So if I do earn money, it's a bonus. But yeah, that's kind of what I did. I do budget. I always budget. I made a video. I was thinking, I was like, have I made that video? I've always thought about making that video. No, I have made that video about budgeting. It's already on my channel, but basically how I separate out my money and allocate it up for each week. That's pretty much what I do. And I also want to make a new money diaries video on that topic for here, because it's expensive and more so than I thought. And do you buy your toiletries at once? Yeah, I probably bulk buy stuff, like, you know, the stuff that cleaning products and stuff that you go through more often, then I just buy them in the weekly shop. It's probably really trivial. Sorry if anybody who doesn't care. But more stuff like perfumes and makeup and whatever, I'll just go to Boots and like do that probably every 6 months, because one thing I do hate is I hate shopping. Like, it's not for me. I'm not very like the stereotypical girly girl in that respect. I just find it really boring. Oh, at University of Manchester, there's an option. You have AAA in any subject. You can do medicine foundation. Yeah, can you? Shall look into that. Thank you, Phoebe. What's your plan for your gap year? Well, I'm going to have two, as it turns out. Well, I'm going to have a year off next year. That's how I'm thinking about it, as I said previously. Then I'll be applying for medicine, because you apply for that year in advance. Then I'm having the gap year. The second gap year is when I'm going to go traveling and live up my best life, because hopefully then it'll be 3 years. So like Corona's like bye, and I can live up my best life, and I'll have enough money saved to do that. But next year, basically, continue doing YouTube, focus on this full time. I want to write a book and hopefully get that published, or maybe just go through the process of writing the book. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, and just basically be at home and enjoy being at home and having time off, and yeah, chilling. Basically, I'll end up probably getting a job, and that'll be that for a year. I just feel like I need time off from education because my brain hurts constantly. All workout questions. I love workout questions. Working out and like exercise is like a really big portion of my life, and I don't talk about it probably as much as I love it on this channel. I want to talk about it more. So thank you for Camilla that has asked this question. Camila, probably how you say that. I saw that you sometimes do CrossFit workouts. I've been doing CrossFit for a few years now. What's your favorite workout routine? Do you like CrossFit? Love CrossFit. I've only recently got into it. Prior to the last few weeks, I mainly did HIIT workouts and just running and stuff like that. And yeah, now basically I discovered this YouTuber, and they did CrossFit workouts, and they like posted CrossFit workouts. So I was like, oh, I'll try these. These look easy. I'll try these, and they're not easy. Because you just look at it and you're like, yeah, I can do that. Like snatches, woof, like I can do that. And I can't do that, as it turns out. There's a skill to it, and it's fun though. I like switching up my workout routine and trying new things, because I've been working out. I work out like 4 times a week. I've been doing that since April, May, March this year. So I mean, I've always worked out, but intensely, you know, for the last however many months that is. So it's getting to a point now that I can't just do the same workouts every week, because it drives me crazy. So yeah, loving CrossFit, getting into it. I want to do it a bit more, because I feel like it's really good for building like muscle, especially upper body muscle, and I don't have any, and I really want to like not beef up, but I want to get stronger. So yeah, hopefully that will help me do that. But yeah, glad that you're also a fellow CrossFitter, and if you have any workout recommendations, please let me know. Have you progressed any further with running goals? Yes, kind of. Basically, my main running goal was to be able to run 10k consistently, because I'd ran 10k in the past. I ran my first 10k in November of last year, so it's only recently that I've been able to run that distance. And then my fitness just went woof, and then I basically tried to pick it back up over lockdown. When I first started lockdown, I basically could run 3k, and that's it made me feel like I was going to throw up. Like, it was bad, and I had to stop and stuff. So I've been trying to build that back up, and I ran my first 10k, I think it was in July, I want to say July, but it was quite slow. So I wanted to just basically run that consistently every week and find that like to be a steady, good run, which is kind of where I'm at now. I find 10k is pretty okay, and I'm just trying to build further. I did my first 10 miler I think 2-3 weeks ago. If anybody follows me on Instagram, you'll know more than I will. I can't remember. A couple of weeks ago, and I ran all around central London, and it was amazing. Like, even though I live in central-ish London, it literally is still like 5 miles to get into the centre of London. Like, if you want to go to Whitehall or Parliament, or, you know, like Oxford Street and stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll run there, and basically just running all through the tourist attraction sites of London was amazing. Like, I want to do that all the time, but obviously it was basically a 10-mile run, and then I had to like walk back, and it killed me. Yeah, 10 miles is basically like, that's at the edge of my fitness abilities right now, and that kills me. But I'd love to be able to do that as like good run. Like as I said in previous videos, I want to run a marathon at some point. I don't necessarily know if I want to run an organized marathon, but I definitely want to be able to just run the distance of a marathon to say that I can do that, because I feel like that's the epitome of good cardio fitness. Yeah, and at the moment, in terms of running goals, I feel like I've talked so much about fitness. At the moment with running goals, I'm making a video on this as well. It'll come out soon. It's like a challenge, another challenge video, because you know how I did my 5K challenge video. This is basically a 2K challenge video where I want to get my 2K time under 9 minutes. At the moment, it is, well, as of today, it's 9 minutes 20, but when I started, it was 9:40. So sneaky preview, it's improving. But that's what I'm doing at the moment. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the running goals. What sort of career advice do you feel like isn't shared often enough by other people? I honestly think it's just like, do what you want to do and don't listen to other people. And if you think it's right and like you want to do something, do it. I remember, okay, this story comes out. This is basically inspired by my friend Jesson. We were walking back one day from a night out, like a couple of weeks ago, and we were having a conversation, and I was basically, it's when I was super burnt out, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And he basically gave me some words of wisdom that I'm going to share. And basically, he was just like, everybody I feel like has something that they are passionate about and that they really want to do. But the only thing stopping them from doing that is themselves, in that they're either not confident enough to do it, they feel like they can't do it, or they don't know how to do it. And you just got to go for it. And like in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, like I really want to do X, Y, Z, and like, but I got scared basically about doing it. Like even say doing YouTube and stuff, taking this more like bigger, that's such a big goal for me. Like I want to be able to do this, not full time because I want to do medicine and stuff as well, but like, you know what I mean? I want to do this properly. And I've always had that fear of like, but like you need a certain amount of subscribers and that's out of my hands, and like, you know, so now I'm just of the mindset of like, I love doing this, I want to do it as much as possible, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. It's like my mom says, my mom has this advice where she's like, the person you want to be in 5 years time, you have to be that person now, because then you'll be that person in 5 years time, if that makes sense. So she's like, if you want to be, I don't know, like a good lawyer in 5 years, you've got to be acting like a good lawyer now. You can't wake up one day and just expect to be a good lawyer. Like you've got to start putting the work in now. So that's my career advice. Hopefully that's helpful. Hi Lucy. Other questions. Do you love what you do, or do you do what you love? That's like tripping me out mentally. What? What is a piece of advice you've gotten that's changed your life? Probably those two bits of advice I've just said, actually. I think other advice, I think my main advice to myself that I have to keep reminding myself is literally just like, have a bit more confidence. You can do anything you want to do. You just got to do it, man. You're the only person stopping yourself. That's my best advice. Because honestly, the amount of times I sit there and think, I can't, or, oh, I'm scared, or like, but like, and then I'm just like, you can. BW, I'll totally buy your future book. Thanks. Oh, now I've got to write it. Is it hard to get a career in law? Do you need contacts? Yes and no. I think you need contacts. Like, you do need contacts when you're a law student, in terms of you need graduate recruitment people to like you. You need to know who to contact. Do you know if you want to do bits of work experience here and there, and if you want people to look at your CVs, like you do need to know people. But I think getting into law school to begin with, you don't need any contacts, and even in your first year, basically you don't need to know anybody, because you can make contacts when you're at law school. But to get jobs, yeah, you do need contacts, if that makes any sense, because I don't know anybody. I applied to hundreds of sisters jobs, didn't get any before university, and then obviously the amount of work experience I got when I was at uni was astronomical. So you know, you don't need contacts to do it. Okay, I'm gonna go over to Instagram and see if there's any more questions. Okay, how easy, strict, difficult did you find it not following the herd of law students who go down the solicitor or barrister route and taking a 180 turn into medicine? Could you talk more about the mental shift that you had? Yeah, honestly, I found that really difficult but liberating, is the best I can put it. Like, I remember it was the summer of my second year, and I remember we had this boat party basically, and I remember being at this boat party, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, like, what vaccines are you doing? Where are you going? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Ha ha ha, I'm not." And they were like, "What?" And yeah, like breaking it to people was weird because I think everybody just expected me to do law, especially like the YouTube channel. I did so much work experience, and like I was quite good at it in terms of academic grades, and like I was always doing competitions. I think I do acknowledge that like you'd look at me back then and be like, yeah, she's gonna be a lawyer. So to me to turn around and be like, no, I can appreciate people were like, what the heck? So it was hard breaking it to people. My family were really, really supportive. My friends were really, really supportive. They always just kind of like do what you want to do, which was I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, I think when I decided like myself was probably the hardest person to convince, like, can you do this and how? And once I decided that I'm going to do it, yeah, it's super liberating actually to just be like, oh, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't have to go down this route of doing something I'm not fond of. So yeah, the mental shift was liberation basically. Do you have any siblings? No, pretty much raised an only child. Hobbies. I feel like I've mentioned hobbies on the channel before. Other than YouTube, other than learning Spanish, another than write my book. Basically just fitness. And yeah, at the moment I'm going through the process of joining the Army Reserves. I think I've mentioned that before in my 5-year goal video that I'm doing that. Hence all the running and the 2Ks and stuff like that. I feel like I don't have that many hobbies. I'm not one of them people that are like, I joined this club and this club and this. I'm in a book club. That's what this book's here for. This will be read this last month. Yeah, which was actually set up by my dissertation supervisor at my old university. She left, and then I left, and we took the book club with us. And that's kind of a fun little thing I like doing. Just looking at Instagram. Okay. Oh, here's a nice question. I like this. Have you ever dealt with loneliness? And if yes, how did you overcome it? Yes. I feel like, okay, we've got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to talk quick. Yes, very much felt lonely. I felt like, especially as an only child, I moved around a lot growing up. Felt like this was going to turn to therapy. Yeah, I felt lonely a lot, and it was just one of them things. I felt like there was a time in my life, especially when I was 12, 13, 14, that I was like super depressed, like to put it politely, and had anxiety and just wasn't very happy at all because I had so many visions for what I wanted to do in my life. I just had no idea how to get there. And I remember just kind of feeling like a big failure that I'd left school and I hated it. And all my friends are like thriving, and like it made me feel quite inadequate. Then, you know, overcoming that, it just took time, and it took doing little things to build my confidence, like having my YouTube channel or pursuing my own interests and stuff like that. And that kind of brought me out of those thoughts. And like loneliness generally, like I do feel like especially now, I do feel like I get lonely, but I know when I feel lonely and why. And I have a good network of people that I can just ring up and be like, hi. Like I speak to my parents probably most days, and like we're close. So that combats a lot of it. Like I don't feel as lonely as I probably used to. And I think as well, a lot of that is a state of mind of being lonely. Like I think if you're super happy with your own company, then you get less lonely. So what did you think about the American presidential election? I mean, I don't want to make this a political broadcast, but you know, I think we all know. He's the right man. Okay, what do you think about Diana and Charles' dynamic in The Crown? Is Charles a villain? Oh, do you know what? I've got 2 minutes left, and I feel like I'm probably going to go 5 minutes over just to answer these questions. The Crown. Oh my god, The Crown. I love The Crown. Anybody that's seen it, whew, isn't it good? Basically, I love Diana and how she was portrayed in this. I think it was amazing, and especially it made me go and watch, you know, the documentaries on Netflix afterwards, and the interview that she did. I can't think it was Andrew. Is it Andrew? No, you know who I mean. She did this famous interview, and it was all across YouTube, and I watched that. I'm awful with names. Yeah, so Diana, absolutely loved her, and even Charles. I think Charles in the first 3 seasons, I loved him, and I think that in England, there is almost this perception of Charles now in modern day where he's like not a nice guy because of what he did with Diana. But like that's all I really know of him. But then seeing his portrayal for the first 3 seasons kind of made me see another side to him. And I was like, oh, I can relate to this guy. Like I like him. Yeah, their dynamic, I think there are elements to it, like especially in the scenes where they go to the Australian tour and they like have those moments where they're like super close. I was like living for it. But I think it's just difficult, isn't it? Like I'm a royal commentator here. It's a difficult situation. Like he was forced almost to marry someone he didn't want to marry, but at the same time, I don't think he made the best of that situation. It's my take on The Crown, but I'm buzzing for more seasons. I'd love The Crown. I binge it in a day. How to make music with a phone. I mean, do you know what? I love that question because I used to. I study music technology at college, and one of the things that we used to do, right, is we used to go into the streets and record stuff on our phones, and then we'd come in and like basically Logic or Premiere Pro, is that what it's called? I think that's the editing software for video. I can't remember what it's called. The other editing software for music, and we'd bang it all into there and like make a solely type like song, and that was super fun. So like you can make music with phones so easily. I do it all the time in my notes now. I like strum a bit on my guitar if I think, oh, this is a nice melody, and then I will play that back on my notes and then sing over it and then play that back on my notes and make music that way. That's kind of, there's a few obviously songs that I've written, original songs that I put on my other music channel, which is like Chelsea Angelou's music. That's kind of how I write those. Martin Bashir interview. That's it. You got me. That's it. Okay. You really enjoy the armor reserves coming from someone who's ex-military. Thank you. I think I really will. I just want to like get in. I'm waiting for my assessment centre date, which hopefully should be this year at some point, as in 2020. I've been waiting for 9 weeks, literally. It's mental because of Corona. But yeah, the application process for I literally applied back in July, like literally first week in July. It's been a very long process. Are you vegan? Oh, we've hit an hour. We're a bit over an hour, but 5 minutes and then I'll probably go because I feel like otherwise I'll be on here all night. Okay, are you vegan? Rapid fire. No, not vegan. Trying to eat less meat. Trying to go veggie stroke flexitarian. Basically, I feel like I'm just healthier as a person. I feel better when I don't eat meat and I don't have dairy products. But at the moment, I have the odd bit of chicken and pizza that has meat on it and cheese. I can't find a good vegan cheese. If anyone has a good vegan cheese, let me know. Have you watched Money Heist on Netflix? It's fantastic. Isn't it? Isn't it amazing? Honestly, I love that. Oh, so good. I watched it because it was like Spanish revision, and then it ended up just being like my biggest procrastination. Strange one, but what would you have hoped to accomplish before you die in terms of a career? That's interesting. I like that. Do you know what? There are a few things that I want to do in my life, and I think they can all be encompassed in like just helping people, but on a bigger platform than what I'm currently doing. I would love to do like public speaking and go around schools and basically be like, I have no GCSEs, but look at me now. Like this could be you. It doesn't matter what background you're from. Like you can do anything that you want to do, and here's how to do it. Like I'd love to do that in the future. It's just getting the platform to be able to do that and people want me to do that. But yeah, I'd love to do that. And yeah, just generally help people. I think all the things that I do in terms of YouTube and making content to help you guys, and medicine and even law to some extent is about helping people. That's the aim. What advice would you give to someone who feels too deep into commercial law but has no passion in it? I feel trapped. Mood. I feel this is like most law students. Do you know what? If you don't want to do it, I feel like best way I can put it is the trap is like self-made. Like yes, you've invested time into it. Yes, you've invested money into it. But like you can break free at any moment, but it's just whether you want to make the sacrifice of whatever it may be, whether it's money or whether it's time or starting afresh. Like, so you can do what you want to do. It's just whether you have to sit down and assess, like, is this realistically something that you want to be doing or not? And if so, if you don't do that, what will you be doing and how will you be doing something else? But yeah, good luck with that decision. It's super, super, super hard. But yeah, I feel like I'm probably going to wrap this up now. So if anybody has any last minute questions, shoot them in. I'll do rapid fire. If not, we'll wrap this up. I'm just going to see if there's any questions on the Instagram people have popped in that we haven't covered. There's a few actually. A few messages in the chat. So nice chatting with you live. Do this more often. Thank you. Have a nice weekend to you too. Honestly, I'd love to do these more often. I've had such a fun time, and I was almost a bit nervous doing this because I didn't know if I could talk, because it's unedited. It's the first time I've been unedited. But yeah, I've had real good fun talking to you guys. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you all have a brilliant weekend. I've got a video coming out on Monday, 3 p.m. I'm going to start posting 3 times a week, basically, continue posting 3 times a week from here on out. Yes, I've got some fun videos coming next week. I hope you like them. Thank you for joining. As I said again, I really appreciate all the nice comments and the questions. I hope you guys learned something about me or found this interesting, or, I answered one of your questions, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye, guys.